Alright, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you my Friday Reads video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share the books that I finished, the books that I started, and anything interesting about books that I'm carrying over week to week, and I am happily surprised to say that I have a little bit of everything. I really didn't think that was going to be the case. I'll admit there's not a lot that I finished from last week, but I did finish 2 titles. This week my reading has been a lot less reading overall and a lot lighter, easier fare, which I'm not too surprised at. I do tend to read less towards the end of the year. That's why when I set my goals for the year, I actually work as if I'm only working with 10 months as opposed to 12, because I know 1 month in the summer, I just get I don't want to do anything. I just get or more moody, not moody. I don't know. I just don't want to work towards goals anymore. So I have 1 month, a summer month that tends to be like that. This year I think it was later. It might have even been September. And then also December, all bets are off. My focus is, figuring out the holidays, working towards family stuff. And although things will be different this year, that doesn't mean it'll take less preparation. It might even take more preparation. Who knows? I have no idea, but stuff like that has been on my mind, and some other stuff has been on my mind. So my reading has not been as extensive, but I did get some stuff read. So let's get to what I did get done. So first up, I first finished this week was Night of the Living Dummy 2 by R.L. Stine. This is, I think it's the 26th book in the original Goosebumps series, or the classic Goosebumps series. I have been working through these. I've actually read a surprising number of these this year. I think maybe 15 or 16, which is a fair amount. And I listened to this one on audio. It actually wasn't available on through Overdrive as an ebook, but it was available on audio both on Overdrive at the Toronto Public Library as well as on Scribd. So if you have Scribd and you want to listen to Night of the Living Dummy 2, you can. It is only 2 hours. To be honest, I did not love this one, but I also did not love Night of the Living Dummy. It's just not one of my favorites of the Goosebumps. It features a what are they called? A ventriloquist dummy called Slappy. And he he's really mean, and he throws insults at everyone and gets the person who's, doing the ventriloquism, pretty much in trouble. And I gotta say, the story from 1 to 2, it didn't feel that different. Did not feel that different. So in some ways, listening to this on audio was kind of a cool choice because it's ventriloquism, so you have someone making voices and stuff like that. That being said, there was a fair amount of sort of shrillness, and they say that someone says shrilly, and I'm so sometimes listening to it was a little much. It was done well, it was just had the card stacked against it, because the first one wasn't my favorite, so anyway, I finished it. That is what I can say about it, and I am in the minority on this one. When I looked on Goodreads, a lot of people I know who have read the Goosebumps books really love this one. Slappy is, I think Slappy's a character in the Goosebumps movie, the one with Jack Black. I still have to see the second one. I can't remember. The first one was surprisingly entertaining, and I haven't seen the second one. I don't know if it's on Netflix here. I should add that to my things to watch in December list if I have one. I think I started one. Anyway, I started lots of things. What else did I finish? I finished one other title this week, and that was Ajin Demi-Human Volume 8. This is a manga. It's sort of like a horror thriller paranormal. Very, very tense. I can't go into the story because it's now well into the story, but it features sort of immortal people that are immortal, and then they have these sort of entities that are their the Ajin demi-human part of it, and it is creepy, not scary, paranormal. It is paranormally, but it's more thriller. The pace is more thriller, action intensity. So I need to go on to volume 10 because, or volume 9, not 10, not yet, volume 9, and see what happens next. So yeah, so I'm continuing that series. I did start a new series because why not? This is actually my buddy read with Izzy, Punk Rock Girl PA. We did pick a new series to read, and the live show will be Tuesday, December 1st, and we are reading The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. Well, we are reading this book. I don't know if we're going to commit to the series. It depends on whether we like it. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not that far into it. It is illustrated, and it's a kid's book, so like I guess middle grade-ish. It also has a map. That's always a good start, and it has some magic trick type stuff like this. Like I don't want to go beyond what I've read because I don't want to spoil myself, but I did note there was, where was it? There was something cool, and I think it has stuff like this sprinkled throughout the book, like stuff like this, like codes and like that kind of like magic type stuff, like I don't know, like there's even, if you look at the credits, so it's The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris and Alec Azam, story artistry by Lissy Marlin. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means illustrator. And then the How to Magic Art by Kyle Hilton. And so I think there's like magic tricks and codes and stuff like that throughout the book, so I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I have to up my game on this one. Oh yeah, I just see, it's like magic trick type stuff. So should I try the magic tricks? I'll definitely try the card tricks or any card things because I have playing cards. But yeah, I was never one to do. I did have a magic. One year for Christmas when I was a kid, I got a magic show set thing where it had all of these different magic tricks. Well, I totally forgot about that. It was really cool, but it was a long time ago. And yeah, and so I think the stuff they have, that this is things that you can do with cards or with coins or those kinds of things. So far, it's a bit of a dark story, but I am enjoying it. Like dark, not super dark, but just like some. What, like, it doesn't start off well, and I'm curious, and so anyway, I don't want to say any more in case Izzy watches this and she hasn't seen it yet. Oh, also, so speaking of, she did mention on Twitter, it looks like there will be a round of Grinchathon in December. The 10th, she asked about the dates, I think 13th to 19th in December, so definitely check out her Twitter, or the Grinchathon Twitter, which I'll leave a link to down below if you're interested in participating in Grinchathon. I definitely will participate if there is a round in December, even though, as I said, my December reading is like a total mess. That being said, the challenges are always very interpretive and open-ended, and you can read whatever you want, so I'm sure that I will be able to participate, and it's always fun to do that and to read together. So yeah, but this one I have to finish before then, so I will definitely be reading this weekend. It's actually nice to get back to, this is a middle grade illustrated, very large font book over, let's see, more how to move objects with your mind! Not working. I have to read the how-to. Yeah, so it's been nice. We've been reading some YA. We read the Monsters of Verity, which was good, but it's longer and it's heavier, and I haven't, I'm glad that we read it. But I was aching for some middle grade. I think I'm gonna like actively make sure next year that I read more middle grade and kids books because I really like them, and I sort of like fit them in here or there, but I think I might actually like, I don't know if I want to set a project. Do I? Probably. But I really enjoy them, so I might try and work them in more intentionally. What else did I start this week? This I randomly started today. Like, I meant to open Hoopla and start reading what I was already reading, but I started this instead. And so I started reading The Twilight Man, Rod Serling, and The Birth of Television by Koren Shadmi. This is a graphic novel that is about Rod Serling, who created The Twilight Zone. And I actually thought it was Rod Sterling. It's Rod Serling. Years and years and years and years I have thought of his name incorrectly. Shame on me. Anyway, so this is pretty interesting. I actually did not know that, so this is nonfiction, obviously, and I realized I actually do need one more nonfiction for Nonfiction November. I don't think I'm going to finish anything I've currently started, but I should be able to finish this by the end of the month, which would get me 4 nonfiction titles, which it was my goal, so that would be nice to do. And technically, this is a memoir, and I do have as my yearly goals to read memoirs, so I would get points for that as well. Yay! And actually, it's quite interesting. I don't know how many nonfiction graphic works or graphic novels or comics I've read, to be honest. This was available through Hoopla. Sometimes they have sort of like, I can't remember what the program's called, but it's kind of like extra credit. They have some titles that are available without using a rental. And I was like, oh, really? Click, click, click. So I downloaded a whole bunch of them, and I have 10 days left on a bunch of them, and this is the one I decided to go for. And anyway, yeah, so so far it hasn't gotten to sort of like the Twilight Zone part yet, but it's more of talking about, I did not know that he served in World War II, so that's currently where I'm at. Yeah, it's really interesting so far. I was a big fan of the Twilight Zone. I think I've probably seen all of the original Twilight Zone. I know there's the Redux, there was the Redux in the 80s, the color, one, and some of it was interesting, but overall I didn't think it was great. And then there's one that came on to regular TV like a year ago, and it's in its second season now. Actually, I think it airs Thursdays at 10. And I didn't quite resonate with it. They went for a longer form. It's an hour long, and I feel like that's a long time for one story, and I really like the shorter format, especially because it usually they're tough tales, right? Like they're about something going really wrong, or something being uncomfortable, or something being in a situation that you don't want to be in, or you're trying to get out of. And I'm like, 22 minutes is enough. And actually, the black and white one, it would be long. It would probably be only like 26 minutes because there was less commercials when it was originally aired, as opposed to now. A 30-minute TV show is 22 minutes. So anyway, not to get into TV talk, but Twilight Zone. So anyway, let me know, did you ever watch the Twilight Zone? Do you have a favorite from the original series? I know one I won't say because it's a spoiler, but one of my favorites from the original series is the one with that starred William Shatner. I really, really like that one. Yeah, so that is some of that. I should be able to finish that. I have like 100 pages left, or 150. I should be able to finish that by the end of the month. A book that let's go to what I'm going to be reading, and then what I'm currently reading, just because the currently reading one is really big and I don't want to pick it up yet. So I also will be starting Dangerous Knowledge by Julianne Lindsey. This is the next book in the Who Picked This Book club with Nicole and Jen, and the live show will be next Wednesday, which is I think December 2nd on Nicole's channel. I'll leave a link to it down below. And yeah, so this is the 4th and final book in the Fortress Defense series. It looks urban. It looks kind of urban. All of the other ones have been more. One was Missing in the Mountains, so they've been more a bit less urban, and I don't know that this is urban, I'm just guessing by the cover, so I'll be curious to check this out. I haven't started this yet. I usually read these over 5 days, so I gotta get cracking on that one, and yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. Okay, that's something else. And then, so the book that I'm continuing is, it is a heavy one, The Sunken Cities, Egypt's Lost Worlds. This is I don't know if it's a coffee table book because it's not hardcover. Do you have an opinion on that? Can only hardcovers be coffee table? Am I being really silly by saying that? This was actually an accompanying publication, I think, with the British Museum for a particular exhibition. And so it's really cool. It is, and they often show, they show things that they found underwater, and then they show them after they've been, I don't know what the right word is, retrieved, restored? Of course, now I can't find an example. Okay, well, this is one. This is interesting for scale. So this is a monumental stele. And so see how big it is? And this is it pieced together. It's amazing. When you see this, it kind of just looks like, I wouldn't know. But that's not a good, I don't know if that's a good example. Anyway, I'll find another example for you. Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. So this is another one. So this a fertility figure. So that's in underwater. You see the straps around it too. And then there it is in full. They're pieced together. So this has been a really, really interesting read. I have been reading it a little slowly because it is a very heavy book and I have to read it at the desk. I usually read it right here. I've been really happy to get to that. I would like to finish it by the end of the month. If I do, that would be another nonfiction title. It would be another nonfiction. Maybe I should make that as a goal. So that's what I'm continuing to read, and I will continue, of course, Magic Misfits and the Twilight Man. I wanted to also mention that on the channel, I have done a review for The Giver, and I am bringing back my idea of series talk, which I started last year, mid-year, and then it was harder to not manage, that's not organize, I think. Anticipate, I think, harder to schedule and anticipate than I thought. Anyway, what series talk is it's a bit of a different style of video. They are review discussion videos that are in-depth videos, and I go through an entire series. So I'm starting with the Giver Quartet. So I put up the video for the Giver already this week, and then every week I will release a video on each of the different books in the series. So the Giver, Gathering Blue, The Messenger, and Sun. And and I am really, really excited to get back to doing this because for me, one of the challenges I have about, because I read a lot of series, but I always feel like I can't talk about any books beyond book one because any other book you're going to be talking about is going to have spoilers for the first book at minimum. So I thought instead of trying to avoid that, just embrace it and have it very clear that this is a discussion-y, spoilery video about each of the books within the book series. So I'll be going through the entire Giver Quartet, and then in the new year, I will pick out a new series to go through. I'm in the middle of two, so it depends on which one I finish first. I think that's the challenge of it for me, is making sure that I can finish them in time where they go up in a timely manner. Initially, with my idea, I put up videos for like a whole bunch of different books, like all of the, like book one of this, and this, and then I'm like, then I realized it probably makes more sense to go through an entire series and then an entire series and then an entire series for consistency's sake. Let me know if you have opinions on that. Do you mind seeing like randomly a review for book 3 of something like 3 months after I review book 1 and book 2? Like, I would obviously not go from 1 to 3, but for me it felt like it makes more sense to go through the entire series. So that's what I'm going to try out for at least for The Giver, and then probably the series that I'm going to talk about in the new year. I have to finish the last book. And then I'm going to try and alternate between, some of the different genres that I tend to read a lot, be it like fantasy, science fiction, romance, and then urban fantasy, and so generally those are sort of, the genres that I read that really lend themselves to series and that I really like. So that is something to enjoy. Hopefully that's the last slide. What else do I want to say? I also wanted to do a shout out to Izzy from Happy for Now. If you haven't checked out Izzy's channel, I would highly recommend it. I will leave a link up above. She is very, very close to getting to monetization, which is very exciting. So if you haven't checked out any of her videos, highly recommend spending some time with Izzy. Let's get her to monetization, because that would be really, really, really great. Right before I recorded this video, I think she was like 90 hours away, so hopefully maybe over the weekend she will get there. I love her Romance Landia videos, which are about like news in the romance world, and I really like her wrap-ups as well. And she did a really cool video on her digital reading journal, which is something that I had never even really heard of. I'm such a pen and paper type of person, so that was really fun to see her do that. I think she did that with a collab, as a collab with Tamika, and they both shared their digital reading journals, which I was like, wow, I didn't even know. Learning. So anyway, I will leave a link to her channel up above, of course, as well as I'll leave a link to like one of her playlists down below. So if you just want to like really, you know, just embrace and watch tons of her videos, which I highly recommend because she is awesome. She is totally awesome. So there you go. So that is what I am reading this week and what is on my mind. Next week, I might not have a Friday Reads on Friday. It's a really, really busy week. I probably will have a video. I'm actually hoping to have lots of videos over the next while, like throughout December. So I'm going to be doing some filming for that, including some things that I hinted at a while ago accidentally. I have to do a few more to make sure I can make it. I don't know if I'll be able to get a video every day in December, but I have a fair amount planned and a fair amount filmed. So anyway, hopefully there'll be some fun content over this time period. I always appreciate when people do Vlogmas. I love there's two people I know. Chloe from Always Booked is doing Vlogmas, and Sarah's Reading Nook is doing, I can't remember what it's called. She is doing lots of videos throughout December, but it was Bookmas. Bookmas. I hadn't heard that term. So I'll leave links to both of their channels down below too if you want to check them out. Yeah, so there's hopefully lots of content to enjoy. I know this is one of those times of years that I think often we either watch a lot more or a lot less depending on how things go. So I always appreciate when people post regularly or daily because it is a time that I do tend to watch more. Sometimes, I don't know, it ebbs and flows. You never quite know, but I do. I think I do tend to watch more, so probably will happen again this year. Anyway, so now I am rambling and rambling and rambling and rambling. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, this last weekend in November before we hit the last month of the year. Wow. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Well, it'll happen one way or the other, so might as well embrace it, right? All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon in another video. Bye.